Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Here today with my Ficus Benjamina bonsai that I've had in my collection for almost 4 to 5 years now. Have worked a lot on this tree. The latest update that I gave on it, we repotted it into the first time inorganic soil or fully inorganic soil and into a new bonsai pot. This has now been in this pot for roughly 1 month, so it has definitely settled in. I can see a lot of new growth happening, which also means we can work on this tree again. So the plan for today is really go a little bit more into the detail again. So there is some dieback I want to get rid of. I want to shorten the tree a little bit because it has become quite long, to be honest. It's a bit too tall for my liking, especially in relation to the pot. And I probably want to wire it out a little bit down here, creating really a side branch down here. Right now it's growing rather upwards and we can correct that with a little bit of wire. And I would say, let's go ahead and do that. First thing I want to take care of is this died back branch here. Unfortunately, this branch has died back fully. You can see that quite easily because it gets very wrinkly after a while when it really has died back. And I want to take it out back to the stump basically here in the hopes that maybe it will regrow at a later point from there, some new foliage. So I would take it back to where I would expect it to still be alive. Let's see if we might even have to go a little bit further than that and really take out this whole stump. I can see green underneath here now, so this is definitely still viable. Before it didn't produce any sap from that point, so it was already died back to that point. Now we have a new open wound here, which often, especially as we then also reduce the height, encourages the tree to throw out new branches from here, new leaves from here. So, first step, correct this little thing here. It is a little bare now, of course, from this side, also when we look at this side. So I probably will use the two branch principle when we wire this and also wire this upper branch then out a little bit. But we will look at that in the end. I will do the wiring in the end because we, of course, remove all the foliage that's a little bit in the way now anyway. And then we decide on what we're gonna do down at those little side branches. So the next step we're going to take is reduce the height. And for that we need to really decide where we want to reduce the height to. I mean, I want to leave on this little branch here and also this little side branch here, so we could go all the way back to here, so take out this entire upper part. Or, let's see, also from this side, we can even go one higher and leave this on still. There is a lot of foliage also coming from here. There's a lot of new growth coming from here, which of course would give us a great setup for a new leader at that point. Because here it's really still fully green growth happening, so it's not even woody yet. That is completely new. We could take that and turn it into something interesting, I think. Probably would go a bit more conservative on here by taking just this out. And this, of course, will make a great cutting, and I will put this into water and propagate it because it already has a nice thickness. It is definitely not too thick to still turn into a cutting. What I probably will do is take out this branch here because I don't really like the way it moves. So I take this out and we have a nice little cutting that we can simply, like this, pop into a glass of water and it will root. And I will, of course, keep you an update on this. We could even propagate this little part here. It's still a very nice propagation size, I would say. So I put those two to the side. And that definitely already has transformed this tree somewhat. It is more in balance again, I would say, so in proportion also. What it still is missing is really the width down here a little bit. So we definitely have to wire it. So for that, let me prepare the wire. So let me just measure out how much wire we will need. So let me get this out, because we need to go all the way up also on the main part of the trunk. So we probably need a little bit more wire than usually. Yeah, that looks good. And we have to be careful here, of course, with this little aerial root that we don't trap this in there, because I don't want to risk it dying back. That would be a shame, because it's really a nice feature on this tree. So I'm really making sure I'm going right away above here, as close as possible, and then go from down here. And we make our way across the main trunk line. Probably one more time. And then we come around here. I'm also trying to avoid the little stump where we just took out the dead branch before. And this way we can just give it a little bit of stability here, enough to wire it down. It doesn't have to go all the way around it for now, because I just want to wire it out, and for that it gives it enough guidance, I would say. But it's loose enough to also not bite into it too much, but wires it out simply a little bit. And now, of course, we follow up here also on the lower branch. Again, trying to avoid trapping any of the foliage. This one we might even have to shorten a little bit the wire as well as the tree, because I think it will be very long actually if we wire this all out. Now we can even go one more time here. I don't think we even have to cut the wire. This already is getting a nice direction, opening up this tree a little bit more. Down here, the question is this in the way or is it fine the way it is? I think I will let it grow for now, because it just spreads out this pad a little bit more, and I'm quite happy with that. Here we might still bring a little bit more movement by doing one more turn here and just moving. Let me get this again. Really making sure we don't trapping anything, but giving it a little bit of movement. So of course we also sooner or later have to decide what will be the front and the back of this tree. Here we do see the aerial root a little bit nicer. And I think if we just slightly bend this outwards still, that also helps. Again, here also opening up a little bit, and I think this would make a nice front of the tree. Here you can still see some of the marks actually where previous wire has bitten a little bit into the bark. This normally will correct itself again after a couple more growth seasons. Is there anything else we need to take care on this tree today? So do we need to prune back anything? As I said, this one here is a little bit too long in my opinion, and I think this could benefit from cutting back by maybe even branching out a little bit more then. So just taking the tips out here. Here we already have some nice ramification going on, so I would leave that alone. Here in the back, I would leave it on right now because that is only still green yet, so we won't get any ramification if I cut this back that early. And up here we have this very long branch that might also benefit from cutting back a little bit. Probably the same here. I do like the growth on this one. Here we have a dead stump, so we can also take that out. Maybe new growth forming also from here. Same case here, just some dead branching that we can still take care of while we're already working on this tree. Down here as well. Just cleaning up everything we see while we go along. Up here also some dead branching. But I think this is all there is to do on this tree today. I will let this now rest again, of course. My goal for this tree now again is to let it grow quite bushy. It will definitely increase in height again, it always does that. I hope as we stunted the growth on top of here quite a lot, is that it will also backbud a little bit, maybe fill in here a little bit on the side branches, maybe throwing out some additional side branches, probably also around here in this area, and really just filling in nicely again. And then I think it's starting to really take shape, I would say. It already is starting to have nice taper. The trunk line is definitely nice. The trunk base is thickening. So quite happy with how this tree is coming along, especially also with the little area root. So that might be a future project as well once this tree has rebounced, but that is then for another video. Hope you enjoyed this video today. If you have any questions or ideas for this tree, feel free to leave them in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like. If you enjoy this channel, feel free to subscribe to it. And hopefully I will see you in the next video. Until then, take care.